Hi Brian. So this is the entrance of our science block. It incorporates EGD upstairs, which I'll show you videos of. There's Ian Crawford, John Crawford's son. So it's science on one side, bio on the other side, and EGD upstairs. And then my second room that I wouldn't trade is this science lecture theatre. It's a 100-seater lecture theatre, so we can bring a whole grade into here and we can do some collaborative teaching. So if I want to teach all the grade 12s or all the grade 11s one section of work, we do some team teaching in here. We also have some staff meetings in here. Oh, I love this room. Soundproofing on the wall, well lit. Also, you can bring your laptop. It doesn't have a permanent computer in here, but you can bring your laptop. This is actually out of my old classroom. This was my old teacher desk, so it's quite nostalgic for me. See, this is what happens to those right-hand walls. So this is the paint, and now because it's been here for a while, it doesn't clean off very easily. That's the space for the dishwasher. We haven't got one yet. I'll go into our prep room. A big center desk to prepare the next practical coming up. It is open at the bottom, so you can put a trolley underneath there if you need to be. And this has worked really well. This is something that I got from Kate Cobbing at St Andrews. It's got drawers, and then if you ever do a practical, you just take this whole tray, this whole drawer, this whole tray out. So if I need all these people, I literally just pull this out, take the whole drawer with me, and it works very well. Our inorganic storeroom. And then locked away is our organic storeroom, also well ventilated. Also, it's chemical resistant material. And finally, then you have our water distillery, and then obviously our basins, ceramic basins to do our wash-ups, and then we have our technician's office. We have 2 lab technicians. Neither of them here, they're just both at lunch at the moment. So we have 2 lab technicians, both simply do their work in there. And then we're going to go upstairs, and then upstairs are 2 EGD, technical drawing classrooms. The EGD have their own staff from upstairs. It's open. So here's the EGD staff room. We have one workroom. And then there's no technology in this classroom. Here's the EGD computer lab. They do a lot of computer work, so they do a lot of drawing on the computer. Again, Almar has a document camera that he uses. He doesn't have an E-beam though. He uses the whiteboard, the right-on whiteboard. And so he just uses the document camera. So here's our science block from the top, and the solar panels that I was mentioning in our phone call. We actually produce more electricity than we use in the science block, so we actually pump back into the school grid essentially. So that's pretty positive for me. Again, you notice the big open windows, and that's the kind of design we're in for. So everywhere you look, I don't know if you noticed it so much in the video, unless I actually tell you, but it's big open windows everywhere. You can see into all the classrooms. This room is actually titled the battery room, but you're going to notice there are no batteries, and the reason for that is that we are pumping straight back into the grid. So at the moment we're producing 11.83 kilowatts, and we're probably using about 1 kilowatt, or maybe 2, because there are not that many lights on, or air cons or heaters on. So it's brilliant. Okay, so Brian, one last video. If I was building from scratch, this is the design I would go for all 4 of our venues if we had the space. But unfortunately we didn't have the space. So this is my classroom. I've gone for a tiered lecture theatre. Our biggest classes are 24. So there's space for 24 learners in this class. There's space for 24 learners around the 4 hexagonal desks. And there's space for extra work areas around the sides. I would go for these double doors. The reason we go for double doors is so we can get trolleys in and out. We can get the fume cupboard in and out quite easily. So I would have 4 of these teaching venues. I wouldn't go for the E-beam. It works really well, but sometimes you forget to charge it. Sometimes you forget to charge the pens. So, or maybe the E-beam, but not the wireless E-beam that I've got. I would go for one that is actually attached permanently. I would definitely go for the document camera. I think that's a big plus for my technology that I use. I have got PowerPoint in all my desks, so if we do one day go for technology, I did put that in when I asked them to build. So I've actually got a whole lot of plug points around the classroom, and there are also plug points in every desk, like I mentioned earlier on. There's plug points around the walls, so if we ever have to bring laptops and things like that, that would work the best. So it's our entrance foyer. You're going to notice that all over the science block we've gone for big glass windows and a lot of open spaces. So that was the kind of design we went for. From our open foyer, there's one of our science teachers, Jaap van der Vechter. We have our prep room. And now we're going to head towards our science block. So we have 4 science classrooms. One is just a classroom, and we have 2 that is a classroom and a lecture theatre and a lab space, and then 1 lab. So there's 4 in total. This is my class. One thing you're going to notice is that the lights have all been put on sensors. We have data projectors in all the classrooms, and we've gone for wireless E-beams. So this is an E-beam. You have to charge it, but it works very well. It's kind of replaced the smart board. The best thing about the E-beam is that you can put it on any surface. So you can put it on any surface, you can project it onto any wall with the software. Then I have a document camera. Not all the teachers have them in our science block, but there's 2 or 3 of us that have them. I have a document camera that I use on the projector, and it works really well. So that is a big plus for me. And then obviously all the classes have sound with computers. The lab space itself, we have a chemical resistant, fire resistant material. We've gone for gas and pull-up plug points. The plug points work quite well, except when the boys play with them, they could get damaged. None have been damaged yet, but they have the potential of getting damaged, I think. But at the moment they're working very well. Around the side, we've got another 11 work areas. It's for practical exams. And we've only put in 2 wash basins per lab. And we put in distilled water bottles when we need to do practicals with water. I went for a portable fume cupboard to save space in all the labs, because we don't use it that often. I've only used it twice, and we've been here for 6 months. So in 6 months, I've only used it twice. So I went for a portable fume cupboard. I think it saves a bit more space. Attached to my lab is a storeroom, more of a physics storeroom and a glassware storeroom. We haven't moved all the glassware into the labs yet, but we're planning on doing that. And then this is also attached to the other lab. These are the stools I went for. They are on wheels, so the boys do tend to ride around a bit, but they save the surface of the floor There again, the E-beam's been taken off. Obviously the teacher's just charging his, and then he has a laptop, and then he has a document camera as well. So this is this is the only science lab, so the other one is a classroom and lab. This is our fourth science teaching area. There's Clint, he's another one of our science teachers. So we try to go for this right on, so all our boards are actually paint, but it didn't work that well. The product we received was not that good. So it does leave marks on the wall. I think white boards would have been better. Yeah, then Clint's also obviously charging his E-beam, which is his big area. And then his classroom. So we didn't go for a lecture theatre area here. We thought that we'd be able to use this space for physics pracs. So there was discussion about using a lecture theatre over here as well, but we decided to go for this flat area in case we ever have to put in extra lab desks or use this as a physics prac. We can just move these desks out, and then we've got a big open space. So Clint's lab is kind of set up the same as mine. He was doing an A-levels prac. And this is one of two areas that I wouldn't trade for anything. This is our science staff room. It's our science staff room. My belief is when you put rugby players together, they speak about rugby. When you put science teachers together, they're going to speak about science. So this is our science common workroom. Then we have 4 science teachers and 4 life science teachers. That's the life science half. And also something interesting is that we took things like this out of the old science block, and we were able to revamp them and renovate them and use them in the new science block. So cupboards for our jackets and our gowns. Little coffee area. But this is where this weight in gold, and we do a lot of discussion in this room. We have 2 staff bathrooms, and now we're going to the biology side. So there's the staff room, and now we're going to the biology side. The biology side is a mirror of the science side, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I just want to show you one thing. Is that they didn't go for the same chairs that we went for, the same stools. They went for solid back stools. It seems to work for them. Oh, and then this is the open space I was talking about. In between the 2 classrooms, we have a big, massive window. You're going to notice all the big open windows. So you can actually see from one classroom to another. You can see what the other class is doing. But then there are blinds if you want some privacy. So one of the things you mentioned is how do we use the space. My idea was that I actually wanted this, so this is the bio side, I wanted on both sides, but I wanted this big thing to be one big L actually, and then I wanted this to be a retractable wall, and I'm busy forming now. I wanted that to be a retractable wall, but we decided in the end that we'd rather have the workspaces around the side rather than have the extra big classroom. So I wanted one massive area here that we could just put a retractable wall in, soundproof wall, and then if ever one day we needed to, we could have just opened this whole space into one massive classroom. I thought that would have been pretty cool. I just noted the Ferrat he charges his E-beam while it's on the wall. That's quite clever. I'm not going to go into all the bio classes, but it's the same setup. So there's the classroom and lab at the back. There's the lab, some boys' toilets, the urinals. There's the same lecture theatre and lab that I have, and then the classroom. So it's four venues.